Good evening once again. I hope that Mwalimu is very audible. Yeah, welcome to our first class this semester. Yeah, for Advanced Management Accounting. For those who don't know me, my name is CPA Ringo Frederick. I'll be taking you guys through Advanced Management Accounting throughout this semester. So we have Advanced Management Accounting. So my tradition has always been, of course, anytime you're starting a class, first of all, I am a believer. I really do believe in God a lot. And regardless of all our religion, I always believe that we pray to one God. Yeah. So we pray to God to give us grace. We pray to God to give us mercy. We also pray to God to protect us during this semester. And above all, we also pray for wisdom from Him, so that can also prevent us and protect us against any form of evil and barriers throughout the semester. So this is our prayer, that God to guide us throughout the semester. So looking at Advanced Management Accounting, this is a very interesting unit that if at all you are very open-minded, you'll find that it is something that you don't need to struggle. Why? Because the concept herein will always tend to help us and help us to open our mind very wide. So what we normally tend to do in our first session of the class is that we have to look at the overview. We check the best strategies that you're going to look at, given the fact that this semester is one of the very shortest semester that we have, considering that from today, from today we're looking at 2.5 months. From today, where we are sitting right now, we're looking at 2.5 months. And these 2.5 months, we are expected at least to have cleared the syllabus and also provide us with time to do our revision. So what we are going to have today, it is about looking at the overview, looking at the strategy, and this class will also be introducing the first topic that we'll be starting with, so that as at the end of the day, it will help us at least to make sure that we've covered all this early in advance. So I want us to go through the overview. What are we expected to cover anytime you consider, of course, Advanced Management Accounting? And what would be the best strategy that we'll be expected to use, again, when you're looking at Advanced Management Accounting? You'll find that many a times this unit is slippery to majority of the students, because there are certain assumptions that a lot of students normally tend to make when it comes to Advanced Management Accounting, which I want us to correct that assumption as we are starting today. First of all, we have a positive attitude that Management Accounting Advanced, it is one of the most interesting units that we will be having throughout our course. And the perception will be that it is not hard. It is one easy unit that if at all you're keen what Mwalimu is going to guide us, then I'm very sure that at the end of the day, we'll always be celebrating. If at all you're very keen with what Mwalimu is going to guide us. So looking at this case, first of all, let us look at the overview of what we'll be expected to do. Then, of course, Mwalimu will also share, of course, the best strategy that we need to employ when you're looking at Advanced Management Accounting. So you'll find that, by the way, we don't have a lot of topics. At this point, you're considering only 8 topics. The first topic, of course, here would be talk about topic number 1. If I told you to consider the overview, it will be expected that by the time you're considering all this, we must be very good, in understanding, of course, what we normally refer to as strategic So these are strategic management accounting information. Strategic management accounting information. These topic you'll find that as much as it is theoretical, but it will give us an overview of what will be expected to cover when you're looking at MA. And most importantly, look at the term strategic. Yeah. So that anytime we talk about strategic, we are looking at something in the long run. Something in the long run. So you'll find that this key area, it is basically theoretical. And when we say about theory, it doesn't mean that it is not important. It is very, very important. As much as it is theoretical, it is very important. So these are very good notes that I've prepared for topic number 1, which I think I've shared in the group. If I don't have not shared in the group, I'm going to share very good notes for topic number 1, which will give us, of course, a whole overview of what will be expected to cover. That should take us to topic number 2. And in topic number 2, what will you be expected to understand? This is about cost estimation and interpretation. Cost estimation, of course, and interpretation. So these are what will be expected to cover in topic number 2, cost estimation and interpretation. Probably you might have covered this at our basic level, where in this case it is upon us to learn all the forecasted methods. It is upon us, of course, to understand when you are given a case scenario, how am I supposed to predetermine? How will you be expected, of course, to foresee our cost in future? Other than what we did at our basic level, there's a very interesting concept here that we're going to cover, which is about the whole concept of learning curve. So you'll find that other than learning curve, I know at our basic level, we might have done, of course, an element to do with basic forecasting, like regression analysis. The only difference, and actually we're going to do that question today in this first class, at this point, other than looking at the normal regression analysis, we'll also be considering an element of what if you're given multiple regression analysis, how will you go about it? So again, you'll find that topic number 2, at this point, it doesn't have a lot of pressure, only if at all we are very open-minded, because we won't be starting from scratch, because this concept, at least, we had it at our basic level. So again, you'll find that topic number 2, it's also a very interesting bit. And amongst our strategy, Mwalimu will be talking about that in our strategy. So talk about topic number 3. What will you be expected to cover in topic number 3? These are planning, of course, talk about planning and decision-making techniques. Planning and decision-making techniques. Say, planning and decision-making techniques. So my good students, when you're looking at planning and decision-making techniques, what is the main element that we will be required to understand when talking about planning and decision-making techniques? And actually, let us mark this topic with an asterisk. Let us mark this topic with an asterisk, indicating that, number 1, it is one of the most important topics that we'll be having. For the purpose of exams, you will never, and underline the word never with capital letters, you will never miss a question in topic number 3. And again, you'll find that it is also one of the widest topics that we'll be having at this level. So making it one of the most important topics that will be expected, of course, to cover and analyze. So that should take us to topic number 4. What will you be expected to cover, considering, of course, topic number 4? Topic number 4, at this point, talk about pricing decisions. Talk about pricing decisions, okay? Pricing decisions. And looking at this pricing decision, I understand that maybe you might have heard of transfer pricing at some point. Also, at this point, I understand that probably you might have heard of aspect to do with, of course, life cycle costing. So most of these items will be looking at it in pricing decisions. So now about topic number 5, what will you be expected to understand when looking at topic number 5? So topic 5 will be expected to learn about, of course, strategic performance, strategic performance measurement. Talk about strategic performance measurement. So this is what you be expected to cover when it comes to topic 5, strategic performance measurement. And you'll find that I believe that all of us, you are aware that the syllabus was amended in June 2024. The syllabus was amended last year. And one of the areas that were affected in advanced management accounting, you'll find that it is in this topic. Among the areas that were affected in advanced management accounting, it is this topic number 5, strategic performance measurement. These are some of the areas that were affected, of course, by the syllabus that were amended in June 2024. So there are some key elements here that initially were not there, or if at all they were there, they were very basic, or rather at that point of very shallow. But with the amendment, it literally affected this topic number 5 a lot, which we will be required to analyze it very, very well. So look at that case. That should take us to, of course, topic number 6. Topic number 6 is also one of the widest topic that we'll be having, because at this point, what will we be expected to understand? The aspect of inventory control decisions. So we'll be expected to learn about inventory control decisions. Also, in this topic, it was affected by the amendment that was done last year, June 2024, because there is element that initially it was there, it was removed, but again, it was kind of introduced again. The aspect to do with perishable products. Remember, ideally, we initially didn't have the aspect of perishable products, but at this point, you find that with the review that was, of course, with the amendment that was done actually last year, there's that component of perishable products which was introduced at this point of inventory control. And also the aspect of stochastic models. There are some few elements that were adjusted, which you need to be very keen at. And these are some of the areas that whenever we're focusing about examinations, you'll find that the examiner is very notorious when it comes to matters to do in these areas. So you'll find that also topic number 6 will also be very important, more so akin to these areas that, of course, were revealed. So we talk about topic number 7. In this case, topic number 7, of course, it is something that I know majority, we always probably practice it. So this is a budgetary control. Budgetary control. Talk about budgetary control techniques. Budgetary control techniques. Also, my good students, there's this element to do with, I believe if at all you recall what you did in your management accounting, there's that concept that we handled, which was about activity-based costing. Now, amongst the review that was done, there's this element that will be required to cover here. Initially, it was not there, but through this review, remember, like even Castable, they normally tend to adjust based on the current trends. So there is element that we normally refer to as activity-based budgeting, not costing. And for activity-based budgeting, since the review, it has not been tested. So we should be very keen, should be very keen with that concept. Activity-based budgeting, which ideally it is here. It is a concept of activity-based costing, but this time round, you are being tested when it comes to matters to do with what? Matters to do with budgeting. So it is something also, I know it is not very common, and probably even it is not in your books or the notes that you're using. There's a very high chance that it is not in those notes that you're using, the concept of activity-based budgeting. So again, make sure that this specific area, we are good with it. Of course, Mwalimu will guide us. Mwalimu will guide us in relation to that. Look at topic number 8, which in this case, what will we be expected to cover in topic number 8? Topic number 8 is our last topic. In this case, you hear about EMMA, Environmental Management Accounting. Environmental Management Accounting. So I understand that majority, they normally tend to pick this as a theoretical area, and it is true, yeah, it is true. It has been a theoretical area, but I've told you, like many a times, you find that Castle will always tend to go with, of course, the current trends as well. So you'll also realize that through this review that was done also last year, there's a computation part, not a complicated calculation, not a complicated computation, but there is a computation part that was introduced when we are talking about EMMA. Yes, it is true. Previously, it has been theoretical, 100%. But with these reviews, you'll find that we should be very keen with some of these concepts that were amended. So we are going to look at the computation part in environmental management accounting. And as Mwalimu is telling us, it is something not very complicated. If at all you go through it, it will be very easy to understand. I also understand that probably the notes that you do have, maybe they don't have a computation part in EMMA, so you must be very keen. See, and that's why at times you might be in an examination, then you are like, wow, I've never seen these things. You've never been taught in class. No, remember they are there, they were introduced, and you must be very keen, more so with these new concepts that were introduced. So this is what you are expected to cover by the time we are clearing our semester. So the best question would be, Mwalimu, now you're looking at these 8 topics, yeah? What would be the best strategy that you need to employ? This is a strategy that we've always used. It has always worked. And I also believe this time again, it will also work. We've always used this strategy in class. It has worked. And I know this time round, it will also work. That one I can say with a lot of confidence, it will also work. So our strategy will be topic number 1, as I've said, I have very good notes that are prepared for you, which I'm going to share, which will cover strategic management accounting. So what we are going to do, this being theory, I'll share the notes. I'll also take you through the notes, of course. Yeah, I'm not going to leave you as orphans. I have to take you through this again very, very well. So our strategy will be, when it comes to computation, we're going to start with topic number 2. This will be your number 1. After we are done with topic number 2, remember at this point, you're looking at very limited time. So you must also be very strategic. So topic number 2, that won't take us much time. After topic number 2, my goodness, you're going to jump straight away to topic number 7. That is topic number 7. That is in relation to budgetary control technique. And this is where we also have what? The concept of variance analysis. So this will be our part 2. After we are done with this topic number 2, we are going to jump, of course, straight away to this part. That should be, of course, that should be number 3. One of the longest topic that we'll be having. We'll jump to topic number 3. So after we are done with topic number 3, we'll jump to topic number 6. This will be on number 4. This will be on number 4. Then, of course, we come to number 5, which is our pricing decision. Then finally, this will be our last topic when it comes to our case. This should be topic number 6. So this will be on number 6. Environmental management accounting, I always do it when we're doing our block revisions. It has always been our tradition. Like when looking at topic number 8, we'll do this topic when looking at our block revisions. We are going to do this topic when you're looking at our block revisions. So most important is, why are we going, or why are we taking it randomly like this? Because you'll find that based on how your syllabus was designed, of course, there are those elements that I want us to train as the semester is beginning, or early on the semester, so that towards the end of the semester, we don't have pressure. We don't have pressure towards the end of the semester. So, as I've said, this strategy has always worked. And I'm also 100% sure that this time around, it will also work. So that's the first thing that we need to understand. Then another element that I want us to have as you're starting this semester, being our first class, is that you'll find that nowadays, if you check if at all you check how your examination is being, of course, examined, things have literally changed a lot. And of course, as we progress with class, I'm going to share with you how they normally tend to, of course, set the examination. I'm going to give you, of course, a whole concept on how they normally tend to set the exams. So you'll find that number one item that we need to understand very clearly is that we cannot ignore the theory part. We cannot ignore the theories. And that's why, as you're also starting the semester, I have prepared theory question and answers, only covering question and answers for theory. And why am I giving you this as you're starting the semester? So that you can practice with this theory Q&A. The reason is management accounting questions will always be recycled. So the best strategy would be, where will they come from? So the theory question and answer that Mwalimu has given us, or rather that Mwalimu will give us, it has covered, of course, all the theory question and answers from, that should be, I've updated up to December last year. So it has covered from 2024 all the way up to 2014. All the theory question and answers, basically only theory. So the strategy would be, as much as we'll be looking at all these elements, you'll also take your chance, okay, to go through this theory. The whole idea is to reduce the pressure at the end of the semester, so that if at all you start going through this theory as you're starting the sem, you'll find that towards the end, at least all of us will be very okay, won't be having a lot of pressure, won't be having a lot of pressure. So that's the first thing that, of course, I also want us to approach, or rather to apply. This other element, Mwalimu will require us to cooperate. And when I'm talking about cooperation, what do I mean? This is what Mwalimu is talking about. At this point, yeah, just a moment. I know my screen is dark. So what Mwalimu is talking about cooperation, I know all of us, we must be having, of course, access to our learning management system. All of us, we should be having access to our LMS. So let me show you the cooperation that Mwalimu is talking about. At least one that I should expect us, all of us, at least, to help Mwalimu. Because, yeah, the same is short. And at this point, of course, I require us to cooperate in a way. In a sense that if I told you you're doing this, you're doing it together, and no one is being left behind. No one is being left behind. So if at all you go to your account on our LMS, if at all you go to your account on our learning management system, that is the case. Moment here. Okay. So if at all you go to your learning management system, what I have given you, you're doing CPA, just search CPA, of course. We come to this point. I need advanced management accounting. It's just a matter of searching. You know, it is very easy to use. So what we've designed, or rather what I've given you, is this point. Same. Number one, of course, you're going to access the past papers, class notes. These are, of course, normal. The revision companion, this is a Q&A, which has covered, of course, all the elements. Now, you'll be having access to this. You see, probably, I know online might be having a lot of distraction. So we are doing a class. You've not gotten the concept right. Kindly make sure that you come to your account. The class that you're doing, like say, for example, this class that you're doing, you're going to get it here under live recorded class, September, December semester. The classes that we did for last semester, you're going to access all of the classes that we did for last semester, including now the classes that have been arranged topic-wise. See, maybe you want to study topic number 1, or maybe you want to study, say, like Mwalimu has told us, like, kindly today, let us go and study in advance. Let us go and check, say, what appraisal of regression analysis, that is ANOVA, or rather the aspect of ANOVA. You just come to that point where you have the videos, of course, explaining the concept, all the videos literally. You'll be having, of course, all the videos in that case. The most beautiful part, you can literally download. See, just come, download. You'll find that it will download on your PC when you want to watch it anytime. You can always go watch it about anytime. In this case, of course, you want to get the notes for the same subtopic that you're handling. You can literally come here and, of course, download the notes so that you can use the notes to study at your own time. So what we've given you basically are all the resources that you guys can take advantage of and use them to study in advance, so that when we are in class, at least doing a concept, we won't be doing it from the point of scratch. We'll be doing it from the point that at least you've gone through the classes. We have all, for all the topics literally. If at all you want to study in advance, that one will be upon your decision to make. So I always believe, like, with all these resources, and if at all you just cooperate with Mwalimu, there's no way that a May will be kind of, there's no way a May will be difficult. With all the resources that we're going to give you, I'm 100% sure that towards the end, towards our revision, you just find a May to be a very interesting and a very easy concept without a lot of pressure, without any pressure. So this is what we'll be having. So to this point, if at all you cooperate, I'm 100% sure we're going to make advanced management accounting a very easy and enjoyable class. No complications at all. No complications at all. With the strategy, I know you'll find that our task will always be very, very easy. And the other thing now, when it comes to the rules for the class, we always go as a team. No one is being left behind. So if I ask a question, I don't expect an answer that I don't know. If Mwalimu asks a question, I don't expect an answer that I don't know. And the reason why you find that always our class will always be limited, more so for live virtual, it will always be limited to a certain number. It will always be limited to a certain number. We don't admit more than a certain number. And this time we've opened at least a maximum of 50. When we reach 50, we won't be admitting live virtual class. Yeah? When we reach 50, that is our limit for class. The reason why we normally limit our classes is because, as at the end of the day, it is not just about, of course, you passing the exams, which I know it is very important. That will be an additional of you getting what? Getting the knowledge. So at this point, this is what I'll expect. When I ask a question, I'll expect us to answer. No, nothing like I don't know. Whether it is right or wrong, that's the reason why you're in class. You are in class to learn. Whether it is wrong or right, Mwalimu will correct us. Then kindly, the reason why I've given you access to unmute, it is because when you feel like you're not understanding the concept, when you feel like Mwalimu is very fast, don't hesitate. You say, kani mwalimu wako yenyewe unatupeleka mbio sana, reduce the speed. Or mwalimu, to be honest, at this point, I've not understood a particular concept. Kindly, can you elaborate it further? That's the reason why, of course, mwalimu is here to guide us. So I believe using these strategies, and if at all you just follow the instructions that mwalimu will give us, then I'm 100% sure you'll find that MA would be a very enjoyable unit. See. So mentioning that, I want us to start officially our class today. And what we are going to do, of course, is that topic number 1, as we've agreed, I'm going to reshare the notes again so that all of us, we should be having topic number 1. These notes are literally prepared, very brief, and I know it will be very easy for us to understand, so that when we meet probably in our next class, what I'll be doing, of course, I'll be going through the notes a bit for like 15 to 20 minutes, then we jump to computations. Our classes would be 2 days within the week. On weekend, we do revisions. 2 days within the week. On weekend, we do revisions. That's how we design our timetable. So literally, it's like we'll be having 3 sessions in a week. And for revisions, of course, it will be upon us to agree. We do the first, of course, the 2 lessons within the week. Then weekend, we do our revisions. So this is how we'll be working it out. Before Mwalimu endelee, is there any question? Because I want to introduce the class officially now, looking at our topics. Where we feel like Mwalimu should clarify, this is the best time, of course, that you can pose that question. Where we feel like Mwalimu, clarify here and there, Mwalimu is here to help us. Any question? Any question? Mara ya tatu na ya mwisho. Any question? Yes, please.
Me, I'm just unable to log into the app. I don't know, maybe utanisaidia.
Sure, after class, I'll just help you to log in. Umesahau password kama what is happening?
Sijasahau password. I don't know where I'm going wrong.
Let me assist you after class immediately, okay? So that even this class, you can also get it there. So let me assist you after class immediately. Great. So at this point, my good students, welcome officially to MA. And we are starting with topic number 2, just as we said in our strategy. And I believe all of us, we have our past papers. I believe all of us, we have our past papers. I believe that all of us, we have our past papers. So, given the concept, then we jump directly to what you are expected to handle. So looking at, of course, topic number 2, which is cost estimation. Looking at topic number 2, which is, of course, cost estimation. First of all, you'll find that the easiest way by the way that you can relate with these items is to relate with what is almost close to cost estimation. See, because the idea we're looking at cost estimation and we are talking about what? And interpretation. See? And interpretation. Cost estimation and interpretation. So when we are talking about the aspect of estimation, yeah, look at it at a point that we are talking about predetermination. See, other term that you can look at it is you want to forecast. All these are definitions that you can use to describe what cost estimation is. See, so what are the main elements that will be expected, of course, to cover under cost estimation? My good students, looking at cost estimation, first of all, you say that this topic again is key because many times, of course, for management accounting, you cannot say that this topic will not be tested, this topic will be tested. Expect all topics to be tested, always, always. So whatever that will be expected to cover here, number one, we will be expected for us to, of course, will be taken back to what we did earlier on, where we'll be looking at, of course, the aspects to do with our methods of cost estimation, methods of cost estimation. Amongst the methods, we'll be expected to go through the appraisal concept of regression analysis, appraisal of regression analysis. See? And when you're talking about appraisal of regression analysis, this is an area that you're going to handle what we normally refer to as what? Analysis of variance. Analysis of variance. Where we hear about the concept of a standard error of estimate. See, we hear about, of course, coefficient of determination. So the whole idea of considering appraisal of regression analysis. The other key element that we must be able to get it right at this point, of course, we will be expected to cover what we normally refer to as, of course, the computer output, which is still under appraisal. And finally, of course, we have to understand the whole idea of learning curve. We have to understand the whole idea of learning curve concepts. So this is what we'll be expected to handle. And I am expecting to take, like, excluding today, 2 sessions, we clear this topic of cost estimation. 2 sessions, we clear the whole concept of cost estimation. That is, of course, based on our work plan. 2 sessions, we clear that area. So let Molimu introduce what cost estimation is, and we jump deep to the whole idea of cost estimation. So at this point, we want to consider what cost estimation is. And as I've said, I believe all of us, we do have our past papers because most of the questions we are going to rely from our past papers. Most of the questions that we'll be looking at, I'm going to rely on our past papers a lot. So make sure that at least you have a past paper, or someone who had joined the group earlier can share, of course, can share the paper. Someone to share the paper in our group, kindly. Someone can share the paper in the group. Someone can share the paper in the group. Someone can share the paper in the group so that we go together. I believe I shared that to August 2025. So let us introduce cost estimation. Briefly, you can mention it. Say that cost estimation is the process of approximating. Cost estimation is the process of estimating. Cost estimation is the process of approximating. Cost estimation is the process of approximating. The total resources required. The total resources required. The total resources required to complete a project. To complete a project. Activity. Activity. Product or service. I repeat again, we're saying that cost estimation is the process of approximating the total resources required, the total resources required to complete a project, activity, or a product or service. Product or service. This is what you're referring to as cost estimation. So many times you can be talking about the same case approximation, very about predetermination. All these are elements that you can use to refer to cost estimation. So once we get the whole idea of cost estimation, the whole idea is about approximating. And many times for me to predetermine or for me to forecast the cost of, say, 2 kg of sugar in 3 months. How will I be able to forecast the cost of sugar, 2 kgs of sugar in, say, like 3 months? Of course, I'm going to sit down and look at what has been the past trend. Say, like maybe today you're purchasing, say, like 2 kgs of sugar, say, like at 400 shillings, an assumption. What about tomorrow, factoring in inflation and all the other factors? So I'm going to my cost in future based on my past data. So the whole idea behind cost estimation that you must also be able to, of course, have in mind is that for me to predict my cost in future, I must be having my past data as well. That is very important to note. Looking at the methods. What are the methods now that we need to understand? So methods of cost estimation, we are going to talk of the following. Number one, it will be important for us to understand industrial engineering method. Talk about industrial engineering method. This, of course, will be our first method. Number two, we need to consider what we normally refer to as high-low method. Number three, we need to be able to understand the concept to do with the regression analysis method. And regression analysis at this level, we're going to look at 2 components. That is a simple linear regression. And we'll also be talking about multiple regression analysis. Multiple regression analysis. These are what we'll be talking about. Then, of course, finally, number 4, we can consider the aspect to do with accounts analysis method. Accounts analysis method. So this is what we'll be looking at. 4 main methods. And we find that it is under regression analysis that we're going to look at it on a very wider perspective under regression analysis. So my good students, straight away, we start with the first one, industrial engineering method. Industrial engineering method as one of our method of cost estimation. So we start with industrial engineering method. So first of all, these are the main methods. We want to consider the first method, which is what? Industrial engineering method. So what do we need to know under industrial engineering method? Briefly, we can mention and say that briefly under industrial engineering method, just want to mention very briefly that under this method, prediction of cost is done. Under this method, prediction of cost is done through observation. Under this method, prediction of cost is done through observation. It's done through observation. i.e., there is no past record of data that exists. There is no past record of data that exists. We don't have a past record of data that exists. Past record of data. We don't have the past record of data that do exist. So for me to predict my course in future under industrial engineering, you'll find that we are going to observe how the market is performing or how the market is behaving. And many a times you find that this method is usually used on a newly formed company, whereby this company, it has never existed and we don't have any records that we can basically base our reference on. So it is a purely new form of company, meaning that we don't have the past records. So what you're going to handle at this point, you'll find that it is purely based on observation. So that is under industrial engineering method. As simple as that. As simple as that, without maybe further explanation, as simple as that, the concept that we need to understand when dealing with industrial engineering method. This should take us to number 2 method. This should take us to number 2 method, where we do about what? High-low method. So we have number 2, talk about high-low method. See, we are about number 2, high-low method. A very interesting method that we will be having. High-low method. High-low method. I want us to briefly mention something on high-low and say that under this method, the highest and lowest activity under this method, the highest and lowest level of activities, the highest and lowest level of activities is identified with the values of x, being the basis of identification. With the values of x being the basis of identification. So you think that under this method, we need to identify the highest and lowest level of activities, with the value of x being the basis of identification. In this case, we mean like, if at all I'm having these 2 points, for me to establish the highest and lowest value, our main focus would be on the values of x. That is very important to note. Another dash you can also mention and say that this is with the aim of coming up with a cost predictor equation. This is with the aim of coming up with a cost predictor equation. This is with the aim of coming up with a cost predictor equation. The aim of coming up with a cost predictor equation in the form of y is equal to a plus bx. The view of coming up with a cost predictor equation in the form of y is equal to a plus bx. Mwalimu will want to analyze these variables for us. So you think that our main aim is to establish, in this case, values of, or to talk about, we'll be considering, of course, the values of x and y, and majorly x and y. These are the main elements that we'll be looking at. So let Mwalimu explain these variables. When you are talking about y, what are we looking at? We are looking at this being what? Of course, dependent variable. These are dependent variable, or simply the total cost. Dependent variable, or simply our total cost. Considering a value of A is simply an intercept, or simply constant value, or you can take this as what? Our fixed cost. Talk about B. B, consider it as our slope, or constant in this case, or simply the variable cost per unit. Variable cost per unit, very important. We have X. X, on the other hand, we are talking about being, of course, our aspect of independent variable. This is independent variable, or simply we can also talk of it as, of course, the aspect to do with number of units. So these are our variables. When you hear about our equation in the form of y is equal to a plus bx, very important to note, we must have this correctly. Have it. We must have this correctly. So once this has been determined, my good students, the next important element that we need to have, and this will be the distinguishing component of high-low method with all other methods, is this. We will be required to determine the value of B. Say, the main element that will be required to determine is the value of B. So how will you determine our B? To determine our B, this is easy. We take the highest value, highest activity value, which in this case, we are looking at, of course, Y, we less the lowest activity value. So we take the lowest of Y. We are going to divide all this by, of course, the highest activity, or simply quantity. See, highest, let me have in short form so that you can feel all this. We have highest activity, or simply quantity, minus our lowest activity, or simply quantity. So this will help us determine the value of B. This will help us determine the value of B. And what I want us to do right now, I want us to go to our past paper. I want us to go to our past papers, and of course, look at these elements. I want us all to go to our past paper. I believe that all of us, we should be having, of course, our past papers. So let me open our past paper here. I believe that all of us, of course, we should be having our past papers. So I want us to look at a question which was not tested long time ago, so that we can see when we are given, of course, such a component, or how to go about high-low method. I know probably majority might be like, Mwalimu, these things, we deal them earlier on. We be very keen at times, because you find that if at all you're given a whole different concept, you need to analyze it clearly. But it is easy, by the way. It is almost exactly the same as what we did at our basic level. It is exactly the same as what we did at our basic level. So opening my past papers here, a moment here. For those who are having the past paper, of course, you can check it out together as mine is opening. And that portion was not tested that long time ago, but it was just recent. It was just recent. That was a regression. It was just recent. So all of us, you can go to this paper. That was December 2024. Check December 2024. Check December 2024. Of course, December 2024. Sharing in our screen. Sharing in our screen. December 2024. There's a very good question there, which of course I want us to consider. December 2024. Should be question number 1. If at all you found the question, kindly you can give a thumbs up. So we check this question out. If at all you found the question, you can give a thumbs up. So is that a good question there? Is that a good question there? What are we told? I'm more interested in part B of the question. We're told that the management of Mario Processing Company Limited wishes to obtain a better cost estimate to evaluate the company's operation more effectively. The management of Mario Processing Company Limited wishes to obtain a better cost estimate to evaluate the company operations effectively. So what were we given? We were given, of course, the year's equivalent production, and we were given the overheads. In addition, we are asked, using high-low method, formulate the overhead cost function in the form of y is equals to a plus bx, whatever that Mwalimu was given us at this point. We are also asked to, of course, determine, using the regression method, estimate the overhead cost function. That is regression analysis, which we'll be looking at it right now. The coefficient of determination has been determined to be 0.913. Interpret the results. That is what Mwalimu was talking about, what appraisal of regression analysis. So most important here is for us to identify the values of x, because we said the basis of identification would be the values of x. So I want a good student to give Mwalimu, to tell Mwalimu, between our equivalent production and overheads, what do you think? What would be your value of x between the two? Someone to tell Mwalimu between the two elements. What do you think would be our values of x? Because you say that this will be the basis of identification, the values of x. So in our context, someone to tell Mwalimu between, of course, production and overheads, what will we take as our value of x? Production. Very good. So, considering our production, my good students, we are using high-low method. This is to say, I need to scroll through my values or my activities. I identify the highest and the lowest value, of course, with a corresponding value of y. So in our case, what in looking at x, the highest x is how many units? Highest x you're having? the values of, we're looking at, of course, XY, highest, and we want the lowest values. So the highest X, we can see, based on our question, we're having how much?
1690.
Good. So we take 1690. Corresponding value of that to Y, we can easily see that we are given 15 to 80. So we have 15 to 80 here. We check the lowest value of X. What about the lowest value of X? What will you be having?
834.
834. So we take 834. Corresponding value of Y to that is
9150.
9150. Very good. So once we've established this, I'll show you how easy it is to use high-low method. We have identified the highest values, of course, that is of X and Y. So this is, of course, highest and lowest value. So we said our main idea or focus is to come up with a post-predicted equation. Y is equals to A plus BX. And we've said the distinguishing component in high-low method is the determination of B. That is a distinguishing component. So I need us to determine the value of B. So my value of B, we take highest value Y, which is 15 to 80, with less lowest value Y, which in this case is 9150. We are going to divide the highest value X, that is quantity, in this case is 1690, with less lowest value X, which is our quantity, 834. I need someone to give Mwalimu the value of B. I need someone to give Mwalimu the value of B. What will be your value of B? I need someone to give Mwalimu the value of B. And where you're not getting, kindly make sure you ask. Don't hesitate to ask. So what will be your value of B in this context?
7.16.
7.16. 16. Believe that all of us were getting that 7.16. Believe that all of us were getting 7.16. So once we've established 7.16, then how are we going to come up with the equation? We know very well that I need to establish the equation in the form of Y is equal to A plus BX. So to establish that, remember, I don't have a, whatever that will determine is only the value of B. So the question would be, how will we determine the value of A? This will be very easy. How? In this case, consider our equation. Say we go with the highest value in our equation. Our highest value in our equation, we agree, basing on the equation given there, my Y will be 15 to 80, which is equal to A that I don't know, plus B, we have already determined our B, 7.16. X, when we are talking about higher values, X, we have 1690. See, we're looking at our first equation. You can also decide to do the maybe the lowest equation. Still, you'll find that will arrive almost at the same value or exactly the same value. So my equation, this is Y, is equal to A plus, this is B, and this is X. What I don't have is the value of A. I need a good student to give Mwalimu then what will be our A. Use this equation to give me the value of A. I know you can. Give me the value of A.
3179.6.
31?
79.6.
0.6. I'm given 3179.6. I don't know about you guys. The rest, are we arriving at the same values, 3179.6?
Yes.
You can confirm. Negative. Really? Mm-hmm. 3179. Negative or positive?
Positive.
Positive. So then we agree that therefore my equation in this context, it will be easy. I take my y, which would be equal to A, 3179.6. We have determined our B, 7.16 what? X. So this is what we were required to determine. Imagine just like that. So long as you know how to determine what value of B, you make your work to be very easy. Where you feel a job in a question, go ahead, ask your question. Kindly do the same. Let us try to establish probably the same equation, but now use the lowest value. Use the lowest value. See if at all you can get. I want you guys to give me the value of A. If you use the second equation, my second equation now would be in this context. Our second equation in this context would be we take my value, which is 9150. This is our second equation. A plus 7.16, of course, times 834. Try use the second equation and check if at all you can get the value of A to be the same or almost the same. Try that and give Mwalimu whatever that you're going to get.
3178.56.
So 3178.56. Yeah, almost similar because it is still 3179 within that range. There's that margin of 0.5 or 1. 0.5 or 1. See? So whichever item that we use, we'll find that our end game would be to arrive at this equation. Y is equal to A plus BX. Imagine this equilibrium method. No complication. As easy as that. As easy as that. No complication. No complication. No complication. Any question before we proceed to the next item? Great. So once this has been established, let us look at accounts analysis before we go to regression analysis. So allow me to raise this point. We check accounts analysis very fast. So accounts analysis again is also a very easy concept that we should be having. I think that question will stay some time back, but we are going to consider other questions as well. So we're looking at method number 2, which is accounts analysis method. Accounts analysis method. So what about accounts analysis? What do you need to understand when you hear about accounts analysis method? Again, this is also one of the easiest, and it has been so long since I tested this concept of accounts analysis. But again, you'll find that it is not something complicated. So what do we need to mention an accounts analysis method? Very briefly, we introduce something and say that under this method, cost is classified into 2. Under this method, costs are classified into 2. Under this method, costs are classified into 2, i.e., talk about fixed and variable costs. Under this method, costs are classified into two. In essence, fixed and variable cost. This is with a view of coming up with a cost predictor equation. This is with a view of coming up with a cost predictor equation in the form of y. This is with a view of coming up with a cost predictor equation in the form of y is equal to a plus bx. I won't explain the variables because you have already looked at the variables. This is a view of coming up with a cost predictor equation in the form of y is equal to a plus bx. I had already explained, of course, the concept of the variable. So Mwalimu will not go ahead and explain it again because we have it. So long as you are able to identify that my main area or what we need to establish here is to determine our cost or to classify our cost into the fixed and variable components. And the main agenda here is to come up with a cost predictor equation in the form of y is equal to a plus bx. No stories. No stories at all. Consider the following example. Talk about the following example. The following data was provided by XYZ Limited. We are putting it down. The following data was provided by XYZ Limited. The following data was provided by XYZ Limited. The following data was provided by XYZ Limited. For the month ending 31st December, for the month ending 31st December 2024, for the month ending 31st December 2024, for the month ending 31st December 2024, for the production of 2,000 units. For the production of 2,000 units. For the production of 2,000 units. The production of 2,000 units. The following details provided by XYZ Limited for the month ending 31st December 2024 for the production of 2,000 units. So what you're given here is talk about the cost, direct, material, total cost here. You're given, of course, 2 million. We have direct labor. You're given 1.5. You're given admin cost. Then you're told, of course, 20% is variable. 20% is variable. And in this case, you're given a value of 3 million. Selling and distribution cost. Selling and distribution cost. In this case, we're given, of course, 10% fixed. 10% fixed. We are talking about 1 million. And rent. We're given 500,000. So these are data that we're given. This data was in relation of production of 2,000 units. Required. Using accounts analysis method. Forecast the total cost using accounts analysis method. Forecast the total cost of producing 3,000 units using accounts analysis method. Forecast the total cost of producing 3,000 units. Forecast the total cost of producing 3,000 units. Forecast the total cost of producing 3,000 units. So in this case, you're asked to use accounts analysis method. Our main agenda is to forecast the cost of producing 3,000 units. What are we going to do? Accounts analysis method, one thing we've agreed, my good students, we've said, using accounts analysis, I need to do the following: to classify my cost into fixed and variable cost. Once I have classified my cost into fixed and variable cost, then we can proceed and determine our cost predictor equation. So our task here will be, we need to consider our fixed and variable costs. This is our first task. We need to classify our costs as fixed and variable. We start with direct material. Variable or fixed? With the knowledge that you have, direct material, is it a variable cost or is it a fixed cost?
Variable.
Variable. Very good.
Variable.
What about direct labor?
Variable.
Variable as well. Very good. I need someone to give admin cost. Your total 20% is variable, meaning that the balance will be fixed. So 20% of 3 million, you're looking at how much? That should give us 600,000. Meaning that the balance of 2.4, this will be what? That should be fixed. Whereas selling and admin, or rather selling and distribution, 10% is fixed. So you're looking at 100,000 being fixed. The balance of 900,000 would be variable. How about rent? Let me see. What about rent? Where will you classify rent? Fixed or variable? Pana potea, kama dereva kwa makanga. Yeah?
Fixed.
Fixed cost.
Fixed.
Fixed cost. Very good. So we have fixed cost here, which is 500,000. So what we've done, my good students here, we've literally classified our costs into what? Fixed and variable component. This is what we've done. So I need someone to determine the total of fixed, which in this case should be about what? 2.4 plus 1 plus 500. That should give us a value of 3 million. What about my variable component? Someone to give Mwalimu the variable component? 5 million, right?
5 million.
1.5, 1.5, 3, 5 million. So what we've done, we've literally established, of course, we've classified our cost into fixed and variable component. The next element that we need to do right now is we want to establish this predictor equation in the form of y is equal to a plus bx. But at this point, you can see we have the value a, variable cost, this is bx, because we read about the total variable cost. And we have our y here. Our y, if we sum it up, we are getting 8 million. That is the total cost. Our equation, we want to establish this equation so that we use this equation to predict the total cost of producing 3,000 units. That is our target here. So let us identify our variables. Then we break it down. The first case, I know very well in my question, I should be having y. Y we have 8 million. Good. I need to establish A. A, we've seen, is 3 million. I need to establish B. I don't have. X, this was in relation of production of 2,000 units. But my question is the best thing with, and this is also the distinguishing factor when using aspect of accounts analysis, we are given BX to be 5 million. Very fast, I need someone, a very good student to be Mwalimu, what is the value of B? If my X is 2,000, my BX is 5 million. What will be your B? Kindly? 2,500, because you're taking 5 million divided by 2,000. Right? So you're getting 2,500 or 25 or 250? 2,500.
2,500.
Good. So we have our B. Can we determine then our equation? Can we? Can determine the equation, yeah? Because we've already determined our B. So we agree that, my equation therefore here will be Y is equal to fixed, which is 3 million. Good. Plus B 2,500 X. This is my equation. The question was not for us to determine our equation. The question was for us to determine our total cost. The question was for us to determine our total cost of producing 3,000 units. Even without telling us, I want someone to give me my total Y. Just follow the procedure, right? Someone to give Mwalimu total Y.
10,500,000.
10,500,000. Because you're just substituting X with a value of course, 3,000. The value of 3,000. The value of 3,000. So all of us, are you getting 10.5?
Yes, Mwalimu.
Yes. Good. So once we've established, of course, our Y, that's it with accounts analysis. That's totally it with accounts analysis. Just understand you need to separate your cost into two, the fixed and the variable component. If at all you're able to determine this and have our equation, predicting our cost will be very easy. So that is to say, in our next class, we're going to clear the component of regression, including multiple regression, and introduce the concept of course, the ANOVA. We introduce the concept of ANOVA because you say, ideally, this was just the first session. Literally, the whole of this topic we mentioned will be taking 2 sessions, starting from the next session. See, so that is to say next time, I want us, the objective would be we clear regression, everything in relation to regression, including the concept of ANOVA. So that the other class, of course, will just be looking at what? The aspect to do with learning curve. And once we're through with this, we jump to the other topic of budgetary control, which in this case, I think we've started on a very good note. So our next class, of course, you're going to consider what Mwalimu has mentioned. Probably, unless there's any question, Mwalimu will want to wish us a very, very good night. Any question? For those who don't have access on the app, kindly reach out immediately after this class. I grant you access, of course, on your account on the platform. so that of course this class it is also going to be uploaded there. Any question, guys? Any question? Aha, great. If no question, you have